Hello everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome to the Pastel Neon Matte Sinful Colors collection. I know there's another name for it. I will put that in the title. This is a 6-piece collection. I can get on board with a 6-piece collection. I found mine at Walgreens for $1.99. It did not have its own display, so if you're having that issue like I did, mine was actually just shoved on a shelf along the beauty counter in Walgreens amongst the other polishes. I mean, there was absolutely no rhyme or reason to the organization. It was absolutely disorganized. So let's get started. The first polish that I have here is in your Elemelon, and this is an absolute beauty when you can finally get it on your nail. This was patchy on the first and the second coat. On the third coat, it did cover up that patchiness, but still it had that issue with self-leveling, which is common amongst matte polishes. So this is a polish that I would say would benefit from some thinner, and it actually doesn't dry to a matte finish, not to the matte that we saw in the vintage matte collection from the Candy Johnson collab. So that was kind of a bummer for me. This one actually dried to a demi matte finish. So for me, I'm gonna be slapping on some matte top coat, but if you like demi matte, these are that. Next up is Make a Scene. This is a blue toned pink, and of course I adore this. Pinks are just my thing. This one was similar to In Your Elemelon in that it was opaque in 3 coats. This one had an easier formula to work with, but still it was thin enough that at 2 coats I felt like I needed a third. Maybe just go into this knowing that you might need to work with this a little bit more. Absolutely beautiful, and this one does dry again to that demi matte finish, which is consistent throughout this entire collection. Next up is Lilac Out Loud. This reminds me of one of those Maybelline bleach neon polishes that are discontinued. This one had a really smooth formula, but still it was still patchy on that second coat, so I needed a third, and once again this one dries to a demi matte finish. Next up is Quick Study. I think that this one will probably be one of the more unique colors to my collection. This one again required 3 coats and it dried to a demi matte finish. Next up is under the Inbluence. This is not a color that I would typically gravitate toward. This one, once again, 3-coater, and it dried to a demi matte finish. And next up is Acid Test. This is a very yellow leaning green. I typically don't go for these, but when you throw a color like this in a collection like this, I mean, you know I'm gonna pick it up. It just makes it look so much more appealing. This one was also a 3-coater. Again, patchiness on that second, so you do need a third, and it dries to that demi matte finish. So this collection as a whole was just okay to me. If you are a formula driven nail polish enthusiast, the formulas in all of these polishes was just not up to par. We know that Sinful Colors can come out with some fantastic matte polishes, particularly those vintage mattes. Those were fantastic, the best, hands down, the best matte polishes that I've ever experienced. And I'm just a little bit upset that Sinful Colors wouldn't do that again. Bring us that vintage matte formula again, because these just, as beautiful as these colors are, it just didn't do it for me. So I don't like saying things like that and putting that out there in the world, but if you are a pastel neon kind of person, of course you're going to want these in your collection. I probably would have picked them up too, even if somebody told me that the formulas weren't there. So that's where I stand, and personally I know I'm going to add some matte top coat on top of these because I do like a demi matte polish, but I was actually looking for a vintage matte kind of finish. So that was my mistake, but those are my thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye! That I've had in any of the matte polishes that I've worked with. Oh my gosh.